in this bitch, I'm waiting there 20 minutes, and I'd seen those bags there for like 10, 15 minutes. Mm-hmm. And I walk up, I'm like, oh, I'm just coming to check on my order. And she goes, what was the names again? I'm like, give her the names. She's like, oh, they're right here. And I just go, those orders that have been there for like 15 minutes? She goes, I don't know. And I just wanted to be like, do you know that I fucking hate you? Do you know that you're stupid? And I hope you lose your job and burn yourself with oil grease and you get hit by a car on your way home.
You're upset with a fast food worker. I don't know. Have you worked fast food?
No.
Okay.
But do we want to open it up?
Yeah, let's get into it.
Okay. I feel like I'm all red-faced and smiling. Oh. Hey, guys. We just had a great discussion that you'll never know about. Welcome to another episode
Why
of
would you
Magnolia.
open it like that? Hey, everybody. We're just hanging out.
Yeah.
I mean, I was thinking when you texted me today and asked me to come do the podcast, do a little episode of it, I was like, this is going to be very different. Yeah. I mean, it's just like,
I always like the late night episodes.
Yeah, no, they're fun.
Yeah, we never know where they're gonna go. A lot of the other times they didn't really work out very well. But yeah, we did just go to see Ari Shaffir. What did you think of
that? It was enjoyable. It was very enjoyable. Yeah. I like it. Like to see a comic who like I really got to see. Because those were his friends, right? That opened for him, it seemed like.
Yeah, typically when you have openers, they're people that you come to like. And
very different styles.
Oh, yeah.
But the one thing I noticed was that, like...
They all do drugs.
Well, yes. Yeah. But, like, that's not... But even that, like, isn't, part of the way I was thinking about it at all. Like, he compared just to other comics of different, skill and obviously practice and stuff. Yeah. He... is such a comic in terms of the way he's able to just flow.
Oh yeah,
in his like delivery.
Yeah, and I think that's a skill you develop too.
Sure, totally. Yeah, and it just felt like, with certain comics and like when I've gone to open mic stuff too, it's like you're like, okay, this is somebody trying to be a stand-up comic. This is somebody like trying to do like bits and trying to like have conversations and trying to like say stuff.
I get so uncomfortable going to open mics.
Really?
Because like I've gone to a few not to do stand-up. Just to watch. Mm-hmm. And it can be kind of sad sometimes because you see like these people like trying to shell out some jokes and 80% of the laughs are just like not pity laughs, but like, oh, we'll laugh because that's what we're supposed to do while we're here. Mm-hmm. But there's a big difference between that and going to see a polished comedian do his bits, and you can tell the laughter's genuine and they're going ham on their bits. Like some of those bits were just gnarly, man.
Yeah, no, his style is honestly like just knowing you and
it's like gallows humor.
It's
his is.
Yeah,
well,
I guess.
Did you hear his Kobe stuff?
No.
Oh.
See,
he got death threats. He got death.
I am not surprised.
He got death. People were like, why? I don't know why you're posting all your tour dates because now we know where you are and you're gonna get violated.
Wow.
And like, he had to like go keep it low key for like he started going under a pseudonym to perform.
Really?
Like it got real because when Kobe died, literally like the whole world was affected. Like the whole world, not just the U.S. Like people, he had fans from all over the world.
Not only was Kobe one of the greats, but it was such a tragedy.
Yeah.
It's like
and
one
so
thing,
unexpected.
Yeah, and it's one thing when like someone has lived their life and like they were one of the greats, but like they were waning in life, not only in their career obviously, but like waning in life, and like it's just like
and aging.
It's going to be tragic when they die, but like it was as if like his life got ripped away from him,
and his daughter,
and
the pilot and the family that was on there.
It was a tragedy.
And Ari was just like, that guy was a piece of shit. Like he raped people and like all this. Well, there was, you don't know about the Kobe rape allegations.
Oh.
There was real, rape allegations, which who knows what the verdict of that was. But like he just shit on, and he does that when people die. He does it all the time.
But see, it's I don't know. I would love to do a whole episode on just comedy, but like that whole tending to the boundaries of like the social and what's acceptable. And I feel like he's the kind of person who like he lives on a boundary and he some of it is just shock.
Yeah.
Like a lot of his routine is shock.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, just saying things to like say the most fucked up thing you can say.
Yeah.
With just a twinge of truth behind his emotion.
Right.
You know. But so funny. But then one thing that happened after when we went to the bar, do you remember that drug deal that went down?
Yeah. Yeah.
So we were just sitting out on the patio, and we see a clear and present drug deal go down right in front of us.
Nice car pulls up.
Yeah.
Guy like goes out to the car, and you're like, maybe he knows these people. Maybe he's about to get in this car.
I think somebody said that out loud, and
Really?
another person was like, no, that's a drug deal, dude.
Yeah.
And then just whoop whoop.
Yep.
The lights turn on.
Well, we walked down to that bar, and like a block away, there were 2 cops posted up because it's a Friday night.
Yeah.
Right off
in the busiest bar section.
Yeah. In the busiest bar section, but also right off the campus. It's like there are a bunch of young folks out.
Yeah.
Like,
And that's like the heaviest traffic for drunk people in our town. And the dude, we were like, how is he gonna handle this? And the dude just goes and just fucking speeds off. And we all know nothing happened to that guy.
I don't know.
Nothing happened to that guy.
You know, Will, who we were with, was like, I think he's gonna get it. And I was like, no, I think that guy's gone.
Yeah.
And the cop chased him. You know, like the cop was pretty slow to react, to be honest.
Yeah. I think the cop was just like, okay, this
I think
fucking guy.
and I think he chased him to chase him, but like
no, I think he chased him to like prove a point, and then just made a left once he was out of view from everybody.
Yeah,
but
that person was gone.
He was gone.
Yeah.
Which I was like, that guy's a tool, but also that was pretty dope. He looked like a fucking tool too.
I don't know if I saw the guy that was.
He looked like a nerd that was picked on in high school and then like turned into a stoner. Like,
sure. I don't know, but he handled it. I don't know how you handle it. I mean, I don't know.
And it just makes me wonder what he had in his car. What was he dealing? Because you're not dealing weed anymore. Anybody can go get fucking weed. Yeah. So what was that dude buying?
For sure.
Weird.
Definitely some synthetics. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of something stupid that's illegal that you'd buy. Like, I don't know, like after like black market birth control or something. Like, I don't know what the fuck you'd be buying. But that was a really fun night. And it's one thing to watch comedy on TV or on your computer or whatever, but like experiencing a lot. And again, good comedians, like that was like gut busting laughter. Like for me,
it was great.
Yeah.
It was fun.
It was really fun.
Honestly, I loved the second opener.
He was so good.
He was great. I think like I definitely just jived with his personality and just like his like lifestyle. But like I was just like,
neither of those guys are people I'd want to hang out with, though. To be honest,
none of them are people I would probably hang out with. Maybe the second guy, just like to like. I'm sure it's a good time and he's super chill. But like
yeah. I would love to hang out with Ari. That dude is just wild. But
I can't even imagine what his life is like. It's almost honestly like with his routine, it's hard to figure out what he really believes, because there's no way he believes what he's saying. No, not at all. So it's like kind of hard, because like we watched Mike Birbiglia, his stand up, and it's like I feel like he's so honest and just upfront.
Oh, I resonate so much with the fucking on timers bit. Like, I am an on time person. Like, I'll show up minimum 10 minutes
You say
early.
You are?
Yes.
Wow, interesting.
You don't think I am?
No, I'm saying I'm definitely not. I don't know.
I get pissed if you make me wait. Like, we agreed on this time. Fucking show up. If it's just like bros chilling, fucking show up whenever. But if it's like something important, fucking be there on time. Except for work, because fuck work. I'm just kidding.
Well, I remember we went to brunch when my brother was visiting. You wouldn't wait 10 minutes.
No.
To get seated at the place.
There was no. This is okay. I don't understand this during COVID time. Why take away all the seating? Everybody's sitting while they're fucking eating. Do you go and sanitize all those fucking seats?
I think the idea is you do. I don't know, dude.
They don't.
A lot of it is just like everybody's trying their
posturing. It's like
no. I mean, I think it's only posturing if there isn't a recognizable end goal. But I think the whole thing with COVID is that nobody's doing it perfect. Like, the idea is that you try as much as possible and forgive any mistakes.
There's so many things that just seem arbitrary and pointless.
Yes.
And, like, so for context, we went to this brunch place, And they're like, oh, yeah, it's going to be a 10-minute wait. And they're like, so you can just fucking stand there and go fuck yourself.
10 minutes. It's only 10 minutes.
Standing in a doorway, cramped. People are coming in and out. You want me to stand there?
10 minutes.
No thing.
Well, what did you do? What did you do?
This is the thing. This is the thing. If there was, I went in my car, chilled there, went to the bathroom next door, and then came back. And by that time, it was done. But the thing that pissed me off is not asking me to wait and stand there. If there was no other seating option, fine. It is what it is. There was a fucking bench right there that had stickers on it that said, don't sit here.
That's fair.
Go fuck yourself. Why can everybody sit in all these chairs and eat and cough and sneeze and do all this shit, but I can't sit here on my phone while I wait for your stupid restaurant?
I would say I don't disagree with you. There's a lot of even in non-COVID times, there's a lot of stupid rules and shit that's out there.
Yeah.
But it's like you gotta have some trust, right? Of just like they had some thought put into it. There were some issues going on, and like they just, I don't know.
I just hate following stupid rules. I'll follow normal rules, but if it seems like just a rule that you made up just to make a rule, no, thank you.
Yeah.
But I also have a deep-seated rage that I have in my heart just for all of humanity.
You do. Yeah.
Like I was doing an order. I do delivery. And
oh no!
Oh my God! I know this isn't.
And now we start the grind your gears segment. Should we just call it grind your gears?
Grind my gears.
That's.
So I was at picking up an order from Zips, and I tell him, I'm here for these 2 orders. It was a double order, and she goes, okay, yeah, we're working on them right now. And then it starts to get a little bit busier, not crazy, but like a few guys walk in and it's starting to heat up, and I'm waiting there. 5 minutes goes by. 10 minutes go by, whatever, and I'm seeing 2 bags that were placed there, and I'm like, oh, I don't think those are my orders, because otherwise they would have called me. I'm waiting 15, but 20 minutes goes by. Okay, you're saying I should have just checked.
I'm saying you should have said something. You're all people.
But my thing is, when I was doing service jobs, whatever, like, you talked to the person who's ordering, right? And then you see them standing there. Yeah. So if their order comes up and you're working on something, you see them, they go, oh, that person's order's done. I should let them know. And this bitch, I'm waiting there 20 minutes, and I'd seen those bags there for like 10, 15 minutes. And I walk up, I'm like, oh, I'm just coming to check on my order. And she goes, what was the names again? I'm like, give her the names. She's like, oh, they're right here. And I just go, those orders that have been there for like 15 minutes? She goes, I don't know. And I just wanted to be like, do you know that I fucking hate you? Do you know that you're stupid? And I hope you lose your job and burn yourself with oil grease and you get hit by a car on your way home?
With a fast food worker. I don't know. Have you worked fast food?
No.
Okay. Yeah.
Same thing happened at a Taco Bell.
Not the cream of the crop.
I just want to, but she was like 38. And one part of me, I was just thinking of all these hateful things while I was driving. It was like, I hope you fucking work there your whole fucking life. Like, I was getting real aggressive. I don't know if we should hear this stuff, but like, I just hate like unnecessary stupidity that inconveniences me minorly.
Yeah, and I think that there's a lot of unnecessary stupidity in the world. Yeah. And I mean, necessary to what degree or in what context, it's like there's just stupidity in the world. Yeah. And there's just a lot of people who are just like their best is not enough. You know?
They're those Rick and Morty characters that they're not undesirables. What are they called? Like the
ones in his little
the ones they shit out into the back and they're useless.
Yeah, I could say a whole thing about that.
But goddamn. Yeah. And then I get into this fantasy mode where it's like I'm gonna go break all their windows. Like I'm just like
sure, yeah. That
and
rage.
I don't know if I'm like a crazy person because clearly I'll never do these things.
No,
but it's like it's just
I don't
like
think you're crazy.
Mental venting to like
I think
release the anger.
Yeah, I think like that's fine to go through if it's cathartic in some way, but don't.
It's probably not.
Don't get stuck in a loop because that's where it's dangerous.
It gets me. It wrecks my mood for a good hour and a half. Yeah. Like I told you about the fucking bank overdraft fees thing.
Oh,
they were just nailing
that's
me
a
with
whole
those.
other thing.
And I had so
that's
many.
A systemic issue right
I
there.
had so many fantasies about like fucking filling up water balloons with paint and wrecking their windows and like cutting their drive-through wires so they can't use them.
No matter
like,
what you do, though, it's not going to impact the person you want it to.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like I was like, I saw this video of this woman. She was like a vegan woman, and she goes up to a KFC and she's got this bucket of red paint to symbolize blood, and she's like, "You're all murderers," and she's like splashing paint everywhere. It's like, who are you fucking with right now? The janitor.
Yeah.
Like, you're just screwing over the janitor. Like,
yeah. And I don't know if you've ever seen, I haven't seen the movie, honestly, but have you heard of Magruber?
I've heard of it.
Yeah. When Will Forte was on SNL, he had this character, Magruber, who was like a MacGyver, but like an idiot type character. But they
just make things worse.
They made a movie. Well, I don't know, honestly. So I don't know. I didn't even watch the movie. But the bit in the movie that I fucking love is there's this part where like someone like cuts him off or parks him in or does some shit, and like he looks at his license plate and he's like, he sees the license plate and whatever license, he just repeats the license plate to himself over and over, or the driving over and over again. And then throughout the movie, like the other characters look and he has journals of this license plate written and it's like scribbled.
Does he ever come across?
And then they find it again and he just freaks the fuck out and trashes the guy's car. And it's like, that's the real feeling.
That's what I wish I could
But it's the person who goes through with it, who's
follows
so
through.
Obsessed, the whole thing, and like that. I'm like, I just love it. Yeah.
Well, it's like we talk about the movie Falling Down. Did you ever see that yet?
No.
Did I?
No. Yeah, you told me about it. Yeah.
It progresses to the point where he's got like, so like he gets rejected at a fast food place because it's like I think it's like an Big Daddy situation where they're like, they don't serve breakfast after this time.
Right.
And he's like, do you have the ingredients? Do you have this? Do you have this? Then fucking make this. And they're like, sir, we can't. And so he's like, cool and calm. He's like, okay. And he reaches in his bag and he just pulls out a fucking gun. And then it's just, there's a reason it's called Falling Down, because it's just that was the starting
descent,
point, and it's the descent into rage and madness. And it progresses into the point where he's literally like got a rocket launcher and he's like blowing shit up, and like he just beats the shit out of people, and chef's kiss, because it's like that's like the deep-seated rage I wish I could act out. That it's like you'd be a psychopath.
But you wouldn't, right?
No, I never would. But.
And you don't. If somebody did that in real life, you'd be like, "Whoa, that person
was
crazy. They went off the handle."
But props.
But no, but yeah, again. That's why I love that scene. It's like you felt that, right?
Yeah,
it's like you're like, "Oh my fucking God." Like,
we're living vicariously through that stupid character.
Yeah.
But man, I just always, whenever I'm in those mental states, I just think of that "Say Anything" song that I was telling you about. Just I hate everyone. I love the intro because it just says, there's a lot of people in the world, and out of all of those people in the world, I am the angriest boy. And it's like, there's a reason he said boy, because it's like a juvenile anger that's just like inappropriate. Like it makes no sense, but you're just like throwing a fit.
Right.
And
well, I mean, I think so like it's one thing when it's a person, right? But have you ever felt that feeling when it's an inanimate object?
Oh, yeah.
Or a force of nature, or just like a missed opportunity. Like there's nobody to blame.
Yeah.
But you want to be mad at somebody.
I've told John about this. One time I stubbed my toe on a table, and I was like, I wish I could animate that fucking table into a living being,
right?
So I could just degrade it and make it feel awful about its existence, just to get back at it.
But you can't.
But
you can't do anything about it. Yeah. And I think that's like, if you think about those things,
problems.
if you think about those things as equal, it's like, you're literally screaming to the void.
Yeah.
You're just yelling to nothing.
Yeah.
And it's just like, what good is that?
It doesn't do anybody any good. Yeah. Like this fucking QuickTime player that keeps going.
Well, several times when you were setting up the podcast, you were posturing as if you were going to beat QuickTime into the fucking ground.
Yeah. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I
don't know. Like sometimes I when I stub my toe, or when I, any sort of shit that happens to me, and like a computer, there's been several times where I'm working on a project on my computer and something crashes. I lose the whole project. Or like even a game or something, and like you just like something shuts off, someone pulls the cord, whatever,
Yeah.
and you didn't save it, and you're just like, oh.
And you're just powerless to the whole situation.
Yeah, you're just like, oh no, there's no going back. There's no coming back from this. It's just like, it's terrible.
That's like one of the Ari Shaffir bits. And I know it's a crime to say people's bits, but he's like, it's a baby. Just start over. It's not like it's an adult, with a life already.
That was, I mean, especially someone who works with kids, I think it was like, I don't know.
Just like, make another one.
Right. But it's like, there's a counter argument to that of like, such an innocent person. They didn't deserve it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, it's weird to think about, like, when you think about abortions, it's like, how soon, you might know this because you've had a child, how soon into the progress of being born, like from inception to birth,
Conception.
or she inceptioned the idea of having a child into your mind.
Yeah.
Conception is stupid. Did you say? Okay, this is another thing. We can't really take it for granted or granite. He's like,
Take it for granted. Did you say granite?
What are you, Boulder? A rock person?
Yeah.
You know what's stupid though?
Huh.
I thought that joke only clicked for me later. I thought it was just funny. He's like, what are you, Boulder? Are you a rock person? Like, what are you, stupid? Like, are you a rock? It didn't even click to me
That it was granite.
How
Yeah.
fucking dumb am I? But
Yeah, that could go easily over any percent.
It should. It's such a simple joke. But from conception to birth, how soon does the brain form? Is it like a weird thing where it's like always forming and it's like degrees of formation?
Yeah, I think it's the consciousness question.
Yeah. So it's like, if you're aborting like a 5-month-old baby, like it's not even aware of its own existence. So is that
right? That's where honestly, not to get into the abortion topic, but like it's a real
should we kill it?
It is
Should we kill the conversation?
It is an unsolvable question.
Yeah.
But it's a real problem.
Yeah.
That we have to be able to talk about.
Yeah.
And to like even be in a camp is honestly, I think, a problem.
Yeah.
To be militantly pro-choice or to be militantly pro-life is, you are part of the problem.
Well, it's like I lean pro-choice, but it's that Louis C.K. bit just nailed it. And this is why I say fucking comedians are fucking philosophers. He was like, they literally think they're killing babies. Like, if you thought people were just willy-nilly murdering babies, you would be up in arms too.
Sure.
And that does make sense.
Right.
But at the
exactly.
same time,
Yeah.
you know,
It's a difference of perspective, of opinion, of understanding, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. But to go away from that for a second, I was honestly recently thinking about, you always talk about how comedians are philosophers, and I have an interest in philosophy, and for some reason, it always feels a little like blasphemous when you say comedians are philosophers, because I feel like they aren't.
Do you not think Chappelle says some pretty philosophical deep shit?
and I think everybody, I believe, whether or not you admit it, whether or not you like have a fully formed or consistent philosophy, everybody lives by a code, and most people's codes are just inconsistent.
Yeah.
So I do believe everybody engages in philosophy, but I think the people who engage in the like practice of philosophy are just doing a fundamentally different thing. Yeah. And it's
but are they though? Because like when you think of a philosopher, they're running through ideas and rerunning them and processing them until they whittle them down to some form of a truth. And that's exactly what a comedian does. But the only difference is it's like they're the Neil deGrasse Tysons of Neil deGrasse Tyson. He's a scientist, but he's also a distributor of knowledge. Like he's pop culture enough to where he can bring it to the masses. And I feel like that's what comedians do.
Well, I think. And that's where I'd say that like philosophy doesn't have to be this academic thing, but there are people who experience it in its pure form, or who practice it in its more pure form, and they can I think all philosophers live their life according to their academic philosophy, but I don't think they communicate it as well as other people might be able to. Yeah. And I think that like people who do art can like give a nugget, they can give a a truth, but not a fully formed philosophy or a system to it. Yeah. Right. And I think the like comedian, the artist, the musician, the writer, they give those like Socratic, like, you know, in terms of Socrates, in terms of like, just question the way you're thinking on this topic. Yeah. And they present those things, but they don't ever give you what you should think. Yeah. And I think they perform that Socratic Nietzschean like figure out something for yourself.
Yeah.
Type thing.
But they do present the question.
A question.
Present a question.
And I think philosophers try and encounter the question, which is a little different, Yeah.
A little pretentious. What?
No. And I think it is pretentious, and that's why I do feel.
But we already have the answer to the question. It's 42.
It's 42. Yes, I agree.
I do want a 42 tattoo. Yeah, really? Yeah. I think that's so cool.
Yeah, I mean,
I also, because I don't know if you should have 2 Douglas Adams tattoos, but I would also love "Don't Panic." I think that's. Yeah. I think that's such.
But that's where, I would say Douglas Adams. He asks, even I think more so than other writers, more so than other people, other artists. He asks interesting questions because of the format he's in, and I feel like that's why sci-fi writers feel more like they're philosophers than other writers. But I think it's just another form of the same thing. And like they like the thing about sci-fi folks, and even people like George R.R. Martin. They create systems in a different way, but it's a narrative system, which is different than like a philosophical system. I don't know. I think it's just like the brute idea of philosophy is that you are trying to encounter this fully universal problem something that we're encountering in our everyday life.
Something that you could pick up and understand it and then directly apply it.
No, I don't even know if you can directly apply it. I think it's just like you try and...
So it's useless.
I think it is it is in a lot of ways a useless thing, which is why I feel like it's not productive and why I don't talk to my friends about philosophy all the time. I bring it up when it's... I even try not to bring it up.
I was joking. I don't think it's useless.
No, but I think I think even people who are engaged in philosophy in a very academic way think that they're just kind of like, it's a masturbatory type thing, you know? And I think it's like, you're trying to like come to terms with something that you wouldn't, nobody has to do philosophy to like live a fulfilling life. But I think certain people like do it to like try and make sense of things in
I think dipping into it to try to wrap your head around many aspects of life is a useful tool. But on Douglas Adams, I do think the whole "don't panic" aspect is such like a metaphor for just like pooping. The
bloop made it even like a more of a poop type.
Like, but image. Like we all kind of just pop into existence. Nobody asked to be born. And so it's like one thing they should tell people is like, you're here. Don't freak out. Just ride the wave. Like we're all going through it. There's a beginning. There's gonna be an end. Just try not to freak out in the meantime. That's like, man, I don't understand the towel thing. I don't get that, but
well, what do you mean you don't understand the towel thing? You mean like, philosophically? Or like?
I don't at all. Like, why do you? Is it just how useful a towel is?
I think he tried to just be like what's one thing? If you had to have an unessential item? What would it be?
And he does work it in so many different ways.
He expands it so much, and like I think for him, it's like if you had to have one thing in the world, it'd be a towel because it's so versatile. And it's a comedic thing too, but like I think he tries to like make touch on.
I just love that scene, and this is one scene I remember from the movie. It's been so long since I read the books, but I love the scene when they're walking. I think it's like in a desert, and it's like you can't think. Is it you can't think about anything?
Oh, yeah. If you have a thought,
then the whole time you're thinking like, I don't want to get smacked in the face again.
Don't have a thought, and then everybody has a thought,
and then they freeze for a second, and then it's like
everybody gets smacked.
God, he's such a ludicrous, beautiful, weird person.
No, I think it's I think it's great, and I think that's where I feel like I think philosophy. When people talk about it in the academic way, it just really seems so dry and like unnecessary. Which is why like that's honestly what I love to do with like the Never Seen It stuff is like I think there's so much more philosophical content in art and narratives and creative stuff that like I would love to pull the like questions and philosophical points out of that because I feel like it's so much easier to engage with. That's the thing I love. It's the thing I love, and like as much as it like seems not derivative. What am I trying to say? Base. It seems like you're kind of cheapening things. I think again, like I've never.
Oh, you mean like Bo Burnham style, like?
No, just like I guess I don't know how to say.
You're saying like it's hack?
I'm just saying that like.
Saying it was a shit idea?
That it's not.
Why do you hate me?
I'm just saying that like that's the whole thing about like I don't want to coin it as philosophy because it is pretentious and everybody thinks philosophy is pretentious and it is pretentious, and like the whole thing about philosophers are that they are all people who have had the luxury of just being paid to think.
Yeah.
You know, they found a way to be paid to think.
Yeah.
And there's a whole industry, you know, like what I've heard, you know, in terms of academia, as much as like some days I'm like, oh, I should have just been an academic. I know that I'm not at my core, that like the people who like are involved in that, like there are the rock stars, and the rock stars in the way who like they have the big books that become part of the philosophical canon. And then there are the drones who just like
do the gritty work.
They do the reiterative work of just like digesting and regurgitating the things over and over and over again. Yeah. And those are people that are never remembered.
Yeah.
You know, there's probably less than 20 like well-known philosophers in the history of mankind.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like it's just so we could never know.
Success is unlikely.
That's the thing. That's the thing. It's like right now, what's important to us who's living right now, those things don't matter.
Yeah.
You know, like that's the thing I struggle with all the time is like knowing what's gonna last.
Yeah.
And it's almost pointless to think of that because what's happening right now is like so chaotic. There's so much going on.
Think about Elvis, right? Like he's gone down as like a legend or whatever.
Yeah.
And people, after the fact, some true rock and rollers back in the day, primarily black people who kind of started the whole situation, kind of grown to resent him, like he's as a thief of the culture, basically.
Yeah.
But he's like this legend, right?
Right.
And we know him because maybe 2 generations ago they knew him, and he was the biggest guy in the world.
Yeah.
But does the next generation even give a like we barely care about Elvis. So what the next generation's not gonna. He's going to care even less, and then the next generation after that's probably not going to give a shit at all.
Well, I think it's even a little different than that. You know, like in the thing that I think is happening now that it maybe makes it a bit more like easier to understand is the resurgence of Tesla as a new icon.
Yeah.
That basically has been rediscovered. Yeah. Because like
and only finally given the props that he deserves.
Right, but what I'm saying is like your personal like. Your reaction you just had of like Tesla's the real hero.
Oh yeah, that wasn't a thing.
That's the thing that's happening now because like we basically have played out what Edison could give us, you know, and we want to like rediscover a new hero. Yeah. And honestly, I think in the future,
you learn more about how much of a piece of shit Edison was.
Sure. Well, sure. And I think and I'm going to say in the future, you know, 50, 100 years from now, I think one of two things will happen. There will be a new hero that we rediscover. And history limits us because, you know, only so much was documented at the time, and which makes our age different because everything is documented right now.
That's a weird aspect.
Because our age, there's so much being documented, there will be endless rediscovery. But like one of two things will happen is either we'll discover the person who influenced them both. Maybe, I don't know if that person exists or not. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that's a fact. We'll discover a new source that influenced them both, or there will be a resurgence of Edison.
It was the pigeon. It was the pigeon that was giving Nikola all his ideas. You don't know about that?
I don't know about that.
Nikola Tesla, in his last days, he fell in love with the pigeon. Fact check.
This is why they're going to discount him later. This is why he's going to be a kook later.
No, but he was a little bit of a kook, and
yeah, they all were.
I believe all
the greats were kooks.
I could be wrong about this, but I'm pretty sure I'm not. I think he self-castrated, and maybe chemically. But yeah, he became asexual essentially, and then developed a romantic relationship with the fucking pigeon, and he would walk around town with his pigeon. And that's where he got all of his ideas. That pigeon just and he was deciphering those messages. But no, I even think about like Kanye, because like I know people are like split on Kanye. Some people think he's just like a
but we don't
jackass.
know. There's not only do we not know if he will be put down as one of the greats, we could never know.
Yeah.
There's no way to know that.
But like even like as great as anybody could be right now, it's like how are they going to be remembered down the line? You know, because like, or even like Michael Jackson, he's like,
right.
He was superstar, like as big as anybody probably ever in history could ever be. And then, his whole persona was like, he's...
This is why in history they say the good die young, because you die before it all comes out. You die before it all gets tainted, It's like you get to die a hero.
Yeah. That's why I think Quentin's a badass, because he's going out on his own terms.
Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And honestly, like, I don't know much about him, it's like, but he does seem to be a very true artist, and, maybe
truest of artists.
Maybe we find out later that he has, for every movie he made, he has a person killed in his basement or something like that. But like he
is in defeat.
That's
one thing that's kind
sure. But that's so fucking random. That doesn't even give it.
But no, I just thought it was cool because he was like, no directors get better with age. They're all of their greatest shit. They hit a peak at a certain point, and that may be later in life, and they do make amazing shit. But there's always a fall off point, and it's like,
of course.
Who's the Western movie guy? The
Clint Eastwood.
Clint Eastwood, like he had his glory days, and he just fell off like crazy.
Yeah.
And Tarantino,
he made a mistake being a director. I think.
Oh no, he's made some pretty great movies.
Yeah, like what one?
I don't know. I don't really care about his movies, but he's made some, from what I understand, iconic movies. But I just thought it was cool that Tarantino's like, I got one more film, and then that's all you get from me. He's like, I'm giving you the goods, and then I'm walking away because I don't want. He's like,
make the choice.
I'm not gonna wait till you guys get sick of me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you my best, and you're gonna love it, and then I'm gonna leave you wanting more. And
but here's the thing,
gangster.
With someone like that, it's so clear that he has a life outside of his craft.
Yeah. Well, he did also just have a baby, and that's one of the elements too.
Sure. No, but I think you can't. I think that's the hard thing for musicians, especially. Like, it's like, when do you stop? And like, it's like,
you get the Rolling Stones who are still fucking rolling.
Yeah. And and it's like, I think that like you have to have something outside of it that sustains you, right? It's like, as we talked about the kind of athlete thing, where it's like,
that's your persona.
You have a career. And like with athletes, there's a point where you just can't do it anymore, right?
Physically,
so you have to have something else that sustains you, or you go down in flames, ruining your career trying to milk it all. And it's like, I don't know, who knows how we'll all feel about Shaquille O'Neal.
It's the Fast and Furious. The first 2, maybe 3 were good. Now you're rolling on what? Fucking 8? Call it quits, guys.
But there was no...
Actually, at this point, I hope they go to like 30. Like, I hope they just run it into the ground.
But that's where, like, The Simpsons, the whole thing about The Simpsons is just that it's been going for so long.
Yeah.
I don't even know if it's good anymore.
Yeah, I don't either.
I doubt it's good. I doubt it was ever good. Or I don't doubt. I don't know if it was ever really that good. But it's just been going so long.
Well, I think maybe it wasn't amazing, but it was probably pretty revolutionary at its time.
Sure.
Yeah. Family Guy will never be bad.
No,
I'm joking.
I think that.
Oh, hey.
No, I loved Family Guy when I was younger.
I love it still.
Is it still going?
Yeah, of course it's still going. Yeah, I think it's the next Simpsons. It's just gonna run and run and run until Seth MacFarlane dies.
I don't know if I was as deep as The Simpsons.
It's definitely not as deep as The Simpsons, but I think it's so much better. It's because it's
South
just,
Park, I think, is one of those ones that will.
Oh yeah.
That's one where like. Those guys just like there is some
they really
there's
don't
something
like
beautiful.
Family Guy.
There's something they don't like Family Guy.
They hate Family Guy. Yeah.
But there is something
they think it's hack.
There's something beautiful that they do.
Yeah.
And they're crude as fuck, but like they do it.
Yeah.
They do it well.
Yeah.
And there's a deep thing about it. Yeah.
I think they're right in the middle of The Simpsons and Family Guy. Like Simpsons like maybe tries too hard to be deep. Family Guy is just nothing but joke and like out of context, weird, random shit. And like South Park is like right in the middle. They're like making some kind of statement, and they're not taking sides, and they're shitting on both people equally, and it's just ludicrous and
pure satirical. Yeah.
Do you want the cuttlefish? Or do you know that one?
You just sounded really crazy.
The human centipede.
Oh God, yeah. I feel like that's one of the ones I actually have seen.
I wish I knew the other option, the cuttlefish or the I don't know. But he was like he couldn't talk because his mouth was strapped to an asshole, and he was like, "Eat the other thing, eat the other thing." But yeah, God, yeah, that show is so stupid.
Let's take a quick break.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
We're back, guys. I've been finding I texted you today and said I've been really busy, but like in a great way.
Mm-hmm.
I've been becoming like obsessed with like working on projects. Like that's why I said the other day, I hope you didn't mind that I just edited that episode because one sec, stupid piece of shit. I did always say a while back that like I wish I could get obsessed with something again, like working on a project and actually feel like I'm doing something. And like, yeah, it seems like now I'm always working on something. Nice. And that's like, that's a great feeling. But also that's why I messaged you tonight, because I had no projects to work on. And I was like, I want to do something.
Sure. Yeah.
And that's a cool feeling when you have stuff that you're working on that you love doing and you can do it consistently. But I have been very unorganized and kind of all over the place. And it's mainly all the stuff surrounding all the projects. Like, again, I always bring this up, like the working out, the eating healthy, the getting a hold on your smoking devices, the smoking. Yeah. And I just wish, I want to be like a well-oiled machine, like where it's like when Rogan talks about his process of like, I get up at 7, I put in a hard workout that just wrecks me. Then I go, spend time with my family. Then I go do podcasts, and then I go MMA commentate. It's like a full day. I would like, because I've had some full days where it's like, I got a lot done and I feel accomplished and it was fulfilling. But those days are sparse. Yeah. It's like, I wish I could do that every day. It's like every day you feel accomplished. Like you woke up early, you worked out, you didn't cheat on your diet, you worked on your art projects, you went to work, slept at a timely manner, and then repeat and do that 7 days a week. Uh-huh. How the fuck do you get to that point, man? That's just so...
I mean, I think, my reaction to that is like, part of it is knowing yourself and being okay with who you are. Yeah. Because I just know I'm not the person that like does that in such an organized manner that it becomes my career, my life, I just can't. I don't know.
But that's what I want.
Yeah, I know. And I would love, it's the thing is like, I would love it too. And the thing for me has always been, if I had ever met somebody who is just so structurally minded to be the like business project manager person in my life, it would have been great. Yeah. I just know I know I never would have been that person. Yeah. So I have to live with the fact that I'm not that person, and I have to live with the fact that like the projects I work on are just basically at my whim, and my whim is just life.
And I was thinking about something along those lines today when I was working on with the new guy I'm working on music with, and he seems more like he's been working on music as like a hobby, like passion project kind of thing. And I think, the way I've been talking to him is like, I want to be like scheduled. I want to work multiple times a week. I want to get songs finished. And then once we finish one, go to the next. And then after like 3 or 4 of those, then we'll be ready for a live show. And then like formulaic, like try to flesh those out. And 2 things on that. I think, I'm not naturally that kind of person who like pushes for the organizations and like setting goals. But if I have somebody who's just a little bit behind me, I can get into that mode. And that's something I think is mutually beneficial for me and that person. But I want to find somebody that is that for me. Right. So, someone that's above my level that can be like, this is how you get ahead. Right. And God, it's fucking hard to meet those people because they're doing their own thing.
Well, yeah. Well, and I also think that like, for me, it's always, I've always looked for, I've always looked for a mentor. Yeah. That's always what I've looked for. And I just have to like deal with the mentors that life gives me. Yeah. And those mentors have always just led me in a certain way. And I just kind of like, I learn what I can from those folks who are willing. Sure.
Castrate yourself. Castrate yourself.
I always just like, I try and like
invent alternating currents.
take what those people give me and then incorporate that into my life. And that's, it's been the folks who like, pretty alternative people. That's how I've gotten into philosophy and psychology and psychoanalysis, that like, the whole like the phases and the little like epochs of my own personal life. And I think it's just like you could take what you can. I've never had somebody who is
take
just
you
that,
under their wing.
No.
I brought it back,
nice.
people.
I've never had somebody who is that for me within my own medium.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, which is like, in some ways, let me be free in my medium, but also has never honed my medium in that way.
I think about the people that I look up to, you know, this people who are successful, and I do wonder if they actively sought out those people, you know.
Well, I think that's where, you know, it's like it's different when you make your life all about one thing. Yeah. And that's something I've never done and never really wanted to do, because the like part of my whole journey in life has been just about experiencing life and like wanting to, even if that means not doing what I dream, I still want to be experiencing life on life's terms.
Yeah.
You know, which is just different for everybody.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I kind of want to dip into that, but I also want to be like,
you can't have it both ways. I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna say that. All right. It's like you either like take it as it comes, or you pursue and forge the path. Everything else be damned.
But you can't take the path as it comes and be molding it along the way.
I think that's not going to get you where you want. Where it's not like folks like Joe Rogan, folks who even like any comic. Every time I hear a comic talk about how they grind, like that is, they made their life about that, and like they had like the people who made it had such great experiences along the way doing that. But I don't think they could have gotten there if they also just were reacting to what came to them.
Yeah, no, that's true. But also another thing that I really appreciate about comedians is like they do have a sort of mentor aspect. It's like you become, you know, just an open micer kind of person. You start getting a little bit skilled enough until somebody notices you, like, hey, you want to open for me? And like then they start like giving you tips on like how to adjust your set, and then you develop together, and sometimes you even surpass the teacher or whatever.
Sure. But like here in Spokane, you're not going to find the music mentor. Yeah. Like that's why people move to LA. Yeah. I mean, and even like, you know, I've heard
that just sounds so. People glorify LA. It sounds like it fucking sucks. The opportunity's probably great.
That's the thing, though, is that like it's a different grind where you're just sacrificing so much, and most of those people don't make it. Yeah. And you're lucky if you make it.
I just hate the aspect of having to struggle so hard just to keep afloat, like financially, like housing yourself, feeding yourself, the bare essentials just to stay afloat and then work on your comedy. Like, I mean, I'm kind of doing that already in Spokane where it's cheap enough. It's like moving to a city like LA or New York. Oh my, I would fucking drown. I would drown. Yeah. You know?
And not everybody's going to make it.
Yeah. And then people would be like, well, that's not, you're not anything. It's like,
what are they saying?
No, nobody's saying, but it's like, that's like, oh, you don't have what it takes then, you know?
Sure.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't. I don't know. But there's also people who rise out of nothing. Yeah. You know, and you know, I've heard people talking about the music scene, like Seattle is such a music town, but like I've heard people say, you get into the music scene in Seattle, you can get stuck in the music scene in Seattle and be great there, but like Seattle is not connected.
That's the same thing in comedy. It's like you hear about this guy who's like the king of his city, right? But he doesn't progress past that at all.
Yeah. And if you want to make it, you have to step up. You got to be the small fish in the bigger pond. Yeah. Or the big fish in the even bigger pond. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Whatever it is, you know? Yeah.
Why don't...
I don't know.
Can somebody just be my sugar daddy? Like
we don't all make it. And this is okay. This is where it gets down to philosophy. Yeah. We don't all make it. So what should we not? So try? What do you do when you're the mediocre person? Yeah. That like isn't gonna make it,
Kill
but
yourself.
like. And again, that's a valid option, right? Yeah. But it's like, what do you do when you're the mediocre person who doesn't make it pursuing what you love? Yeah. Do you do what you love regardless of that?
Yeah. But that's why I think there's, I don't like this word in this situation, but compromises. And it's like there's the base level of your dream. We've talked about this. Like the plan A has to include the plan B. Right. And like I said in the previous podcast, my aspirations have matured a bit. They're not so grandiose and ridiculous. And so that somebody said that happiness is life without expectations or something like that. Because then you'll just always find reasons to be disappointed. Yeah. But
life without expectations is just life.
Yeah. That's probably a good thing.
Yeah. I mean, like, I've had a lot of these reckoning moments in my life, and it's hard to tell if they are what limited me or what have made me okay with where I'm at. Mm-hmm. But like, I think in high school, and that was a time when I was I would say I was pretty unconscious in terms of how I lived my life. I wasn't making decisions really. I was kind of just
hopeful
really
or
going
more
along with stuff.
Or less hopeful.
What do you mean?
More hopeful or less hopeful in terms of your future aspirations? Or you didn't have any?
I think everybody has the hopeful aspirations of like, oh, I wish I could be famous. I wish I could do this. I wish I could do what I loved. I wish I could be a famous artist, or even just an artist who makes it or whatever. I think I'm pretty rationally minded, and at some point, I was pretty good at math in school. It's something I realized I was pretty like naturally adept at, and I just thought about it, and I was just like, odds, just pure rational odds, are that you are average. That's just how it works, right? Because average is built on the fact that most people are that, right? There's outliers above and below, but average is the
I was just going to say, are most people average or are most people below average? But then it wouldn't fucking be average.
Right, exactly, right? So odds are you're average.
Yeah.
I might not be, but odds are you're average.
Yeah.
So the odds are that I'm an average person. Mm-hmm. So I have to accept the fact that I'm just average.
But what if you feel special?
and everybody is, to yourself, everybody is. Special. And you are to a degree, obviously. But like, if those are just the odds, then like just you have to come to terms with that, right? Yeah. And I've always, I think part of me, of course, like I always think about like, oh, like if I do everything honestly, and like do everything.
It'll work out.
It might at some point the luck catches on or something, like two things meet up and like it works out or whatever. And I'm open to that constantly, but like if odds are I'm average, then what do I do if I'm average?
Yeah.
And I have to be okay with that.
Yeah.
So and like maybe that thought has always limited me,
and that's what you tell your son when he's trying anything. You're probably average.
No, but it's like that. Was it Jim Carrey or somebody?
Oh yeah, he said you could fail at something you don't want to do. So you might as well.
So you might as
have
well
the possibility of failing at something you do want to do.
Yeah.
But
you still might fail.
Such great information.
You might always fail.
Yeah.
So you might as well just enjoy the ride.
Yeah. That's true.
Because even failure is a valid mode of being.
Yeah. I was thinking about like even if like
we don't kill failures, right? Do we? I don't know. Should we? I don't know.
Texas doesn't anymore.
Oh my god.
Bazinga. But it's like if this podcast, if we end up not doing this podcast anymore down the road, it's like this was still a great time, still a fun project.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's I think if see, that's the thing about the whole your art being your whole persona, or like athletes, that's being all of who they are. It's like if I had to stop doing this, probably kill myself.
See, again, like, I just philosophically, I would say that like suicide is an option.
Yeah,
and it's a valid option, but it is a cowardly option.
But I have no. And again, I'm not saying I have to be famous or uber successful or anything, but I have no other options besides doing the artistic projects that I love, because I don't know what else is outside of that. Like, what do I work as a bartender? Do I work at a bakery or a garbage man or a landscaper or fucking? Do I sell? Am I a realtor, which is like what most of the people I went to high school with are now? It's like, what kind of fucking life is that, man?
Well, yeah, I think that's where it's like, you could find that element that you love in anything. That's why I do believe that like somebody who is so passionate about their craft, so passionate about their job, so like I believe there is a fully actualized fast food worker out there. I believe that's true. You know,
they don't work at Zips, that's for sure. Fuckers.
Not that person.
We brought it back around.
But I think it's like you can do anything in a way that like is true to the experience of life and self-consciousness, and you can be self-actualized in anything. And I think you can translate that, you know, and I'm not saying that like any person could do anything and be that way, but I think you have to find what you can do in the like landscape.
But it just it does scare me though, because like I see like my cousins, my two female cousins, and they're, what are they called? They're some kind of physical therapy people. They both got into the same field, and they're gonna be making pretty good money. And in my mind, it's like they took the safe route. It's like, is that really what they want to do? Or do they know it's like, it's an okay enough thing to do and it makes good money?
And I think here's the thing is that like, you could never know. So like, you know, there's this whole existential thing of like, there's two kinds of like waiters out there, right? There's the waiter who like is like being the waiter, and they're just like, they basically play act being a waiter and like try and be the best waiter there is. And it's all a facade of just them being the best role that they can play. They're all, you know, they're just kind of playing at it. And then I think there's being the waiter and being an authentic, fully actualized person who is really inhabiting that role authentically. And you couldn't tell the difference from the outside. You can only tell the difference from the inside. So,
but even that second person you described, is that what they wanted to do with their life?
I mean, the question is like, what do you want to do? How do you know what you want to do with your life without having lived it at all?
I think I know what I want to do with my life.
Okay.
I want to pursue my artistic endeavors. And again, I don't need to be uber successful or hyper wealthy or quote unquote famous.
Right.
But I do think the end goal for me is to do this enough to where I get good enough to make enough of an income to meet my needs, and just do that indefinitely. Again, I don't need to be hyper wealthy or whatever, but if I can provide for myself and my family by just doing what I love full time, in my mind, that's making it.
Okay.
But if that, for some whatever reason, I'm too average or I'm just not talented enough, that doesn't become a reality.
Okay.
I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do.
I'm going to posit something, it's not going to answer this question that you're asking right now. I'm just going to like posit a scenario and then ask you a question, and then like I want to see what you say to it.
Okay.
So let's say I could predict the future in some way.
Oh.
Okay.
Eternal sunshine.
No, I don't know. Maybe
you're gonna say no. It's more Arrival, Tony. This ends badly for you. You end up homeless. Your family leaves you.
I'm gonna posit this in a way that honestly I feel like fits in with your view of the world a little bit. So let's say I told you if you worked 5 years as a fast food worker, if you somehow, I don't know how this happens.
Just magic of the hype.
This is the hypothetical. You worked 5 years as a fast food worker. Somehow that led to you being self-sustainable after those 5 years. Whether that means you worked part-time or something. Those 5 years, I'm not the question yet.
Sorry, okay.
5 years as a fast food worker. And then after that, you got to do whatever you want. Self-sufficient, however that was possible. The mechanics of it are not the part of the question.
It doesn't matter. Yeah.
Okay. During those 5 years, are you doing what you want?
Oh, that is a great question.
There you go. That's a question.
Huh. Yeah, I think, yeah.
Okay, so being a fast food worker is what you want to do.
If you know it leads to that
If
outcome.
you know that, and then yeah. But
yes.
But so yes. So being a fast food worker is the path for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in that case, if your goal is something like being
you just blew my mind.
Being like comfortable, being like living a life that is like, you know, successful, profitable, like just like I don't know, you know, just like you're living life.
Become okay with where I'm at now.
Yeah.
And do the thing. Yeah, okay.
So like if some, you know, being physical therapist or being a real estate person, if that gets you where you want to go, isn't that what you want to do?
Forget those people. We're talking about me.
Okay, sure.
No,
anyway, I'm just saying, like, you know,
no,
like,
but no, that just did make it click to me in that if I am seeing that end goal as a possibility that could happen if I work towards it, the scenario you just posited does make me more okay with doing the bullshit work that I have to do to get there.
Right.
Wow, that was a very enlightening question for me.
I mean, like, it's not a realistic, obviously, question.
No,
but
I'm essentially doing that. I'm not working fast food, but I'm doing a job that I don't give a fucking shit about.
Sure, yeah.
But
that brings that into the fold, right?
Yeah.
It makes the shit you do a part of the dream.
Yeah. Wow. That is great. We're gonna end right there. No, I'm just kidding. No, that didn't mean a whole lot to you guys necessarily, but that did wonders for me. That really put things into perspective. It does make me feel more okay about being where I'm at currently,
right,
and doing the stupid stuff that I hate doing on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah. Life, a lot of life is drudgery.
Yeah.
I think there's this quote that I honestly I feel there's a truth to it, and I feel a lot of people mention it, and I haven't quite fully understood or digested it. Most people live lives of quiet desperation. Yeah. And there's a truth to that I haven't fully comprehended because I don't know what meaning it holds, but I know that it's true.
Yeah.
I can intuitively tell you that it's true, but I can't explain to you why.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people take it a lot of different directions, but I do believe that is there's truth there, and by default there is happiness there somehow. And I can't explain it. I really can't explain it. Yeah.
Well, one thing that Peterson that brought it across to my attention was the whole life is suffering concept, which really put a lot of things into perspective for me, because it's like, in my mind until that point, it was like it almost felt like just my own personal rain cloud was following me around, and like, why isn't everybody else dealing with this? It's like why am I singled out for this? And it's like, when you realize like that's just part of life, and everybody's kind of going through that, it takes a little bit of the weight off and makes it realize that, like, life kind of it is suffering, but you can
sucks for everybody.
You can be grateful for the numerous occasions when it's not.
Yeah.
You know?
And I don't think you have to even go that far, you know, and that's where I feel like I'm pretty against the like take refuge in the good moments. You know, because I don't think the good moments aren't the juice. Yeah. It's all juice. Yeah. You know? Yeah. You know, it's all good. It's all good in one way, and it's all just, again, it's like, it's the life without expectations. It's all part of it. Yeah. It's all part of it. And if you see life as like a dream and then all these appendages to the dream that like prop it up, it's all part of the same structure. And this is where, if you go down this path without a lot of reflection and understanding, it seems really mystic woo type. You're just trying to say it's all great, man. It's everything's awesome, you know, like that's the cheesy, corny version of it that nobody can understand from the outside, that like at the root of it is somehow
there's
true.
A Terrence McKenna quote that I don't really know, but he was essentially making the analogy that like life is like you're just going downstream, and you can like fight it and like try to work up against it, or you can just kick back and float downstream. And enjoy
that's
it.
A very Taoist type thing. And I know you watch Cowboy Bebop, right? You watch Cowboy Bebop?
I've watched a few episodes. I haven't gotten to
okay. It's also, if anybody knows Bruce Lee, it's the same. It's a similar kind of thing.
Be like water.
Be like water. That's a very Taoist concept. The Wu Wei concept of water, of being like water, in that you know, you go with the flow, but not in the like hippie surfer way. Yeah. Because water is like
with the punches.
It goes with the terrain, and at one moment it's still, at one moment it's rushing, at another moment it's crashing. Turbulent. You know, it's like there's all these different aspects to it, and water is a force to be reckoned with.
This podcast doesn't mean nothing without you when you're gone.
Or this might just be ramblings. Like this is okay. So this is my fear.
I'm getting a lot out of
it.
But
this is my fear in life is that I say shit like this and everybody's just like, oh yeah, that's the hippie guy that talks all the time.
If anybody would fucking watch our show, you'd get a lot out of it.
No, I don't know, man. It's like I struggle honestly. This is my struggle with my personality and people understanding who I am. And this is the thing of like you can never know how other people see you.
Yeah.
There are so many good books, thoughts, diatribes on you can never know how other people see you. So it's not worth your time, but it so much occupies how much we think of ourselves because we create ourselves out of other people's perceptions.
Yeah.
I have to react to the fact that you think of me some way, right? And I have a friend who is,
and that also informs how you think of yourself.
Oh yeah, totally. No, it's how you create yourself is by how people react to you. And I have a friend who has the exact same problem that I do. Is I can't tell if people see me as this hippie woo,
I have a story for you.
like ethereal person or this pretentious academic asshole.
Yeah,
I don't know which one it is.
I don't see either of those.
And I can't. But that's my personal struggle, and I don't know what to do with it, and I just try and like still be who I am, but I just know how it comes off.
I have a couple things to say on that.
Okay.
I was at I was working, and my uncle, he's so sweet. He just moved here from Texas. He spent like 20 years there, so I haven't gotten to know him as much as the rest of my family is so close, like Sunday meetings every Sunday, family gatherings. But this is his first like 6 months since he moved here. And he's just the coolest guy. He's so nice. So he always invites me. He's like, hey, I'm cooking over here. Come over. And I'm always working. But finally I decided to go over there. And I was like, that sounds like a good time. And I get over there and he's like, how is El Salvador and all this stuff? You got any videos? And I was like, well, I just edited a podcast. I don't have any of the actual footage with me, but I've got the podcast that has some of the footage. And he's like, oh, show me. And his grandkids were there who are like my age, and they're like watching it with us, and there's like, oh, this is your podcast? And the grandkid, he's Hispanic, and he goes, una hippie. And I was like, oh, he would laugh if he heard that. But two other things. I don't see you as either of those. I think of you as,
well, I appreciate that, but like again, like it's you're one of many people in the world, so I
see you as a very and I'm not saying this in a pretentious way, a very deep thinking person, very empathetic, and just very genuinely kind. And one of the things, I feel
like this is what people would say about Duncan Trussell, but like try and share some of his stuff around and see what people think. Man. See what people think of Duncan Trussell. Like, because I honestly I feel a kinship with him in a very deep way.
He's such a beautiful person.
Yeah.
And I was gonna text you guys this the other night, but I was editing the podcast at like 4 a.m, cracked out on coffee and cigarettes, editing, and I was just watching our episode, and I was just thinking to myself, and it was too sincere to actually message you guys, but I might as well say it. I was like, my life is so much better, and I feel like, I don't know if this is an objective reality, but it's how I feel. I feel like I'm better from knowing you guys. I'm very grateful for my friendship with you guys. And
that's one of the best compliments. It's a compliment that I've heard people say to other people. Yeah. But it is generally one of the best compliments you can give to somebody. Yeah.
But I do feel that way, and I'm so glad, even though our run is ending and you guys are moving.
Oh my.
But
yeah.
No, I'm not even saying that in a complaining way.
Sure.
This year was one of the best years of my life, just because I got to work on stuff with a partner to work on things with, and this whole thing has just been so fun. Yeah. And honestly, I would not be as far into this process as I would be if you weren't.
I mean, this project has been like the creative outlet I've had, and it's not a medium that I've ever really done, you know, and it's like, you know, it's something that's it's a moment happening right now, this kind of medium, which is great, and I love to be a part of it and do it, and like my time here in the city where I was born and raised would not have been the thing it was. Would not have been enjoyable, would not have been worth mentioning as a part of my life if it weren't for this, you know. So
that's
you know,
great. Yeah.
and I'm you know, I say that and now I'm thinking that like my son was born here and my family started, you know, but and obviously that was a very different part of it. Like this is, you know, a very different part of my life that like is very meaningful.
Newborn child isn't as good as a new podcast.
No, it's just a very different. It's just a very different thing.
Yeah. No, I get you. Yeah. But no, it's been fun. I'm trying to think of how I can do things after you're gone, and it's like, it's gonna be a lot.
I don't know either. I try and think of so many ways that we can keep this going, and it's just like, it's obviously it's not gonna be the same necessarily. So it's like, what do we do?
But again, I do think I brought this up to you earlier about Tom Segura and Bert Kreischer doing it virtually, like from different states, and they make it work. But I do think you are gonna be quite busy with, you know, your whole situation, building your house and getting settled over there, so it might be a little rocky at first, but just don't forget about the podcast.
I don't want to, and honestly, like, this is my dream, is that somehow this like gives you the leg up to do your thing, because like I still consider this your project, and you just have let me be a part of it, which I really enjoy.
You say that, but it's like I started this project with you essentially.
But no, it was a dream before. Like I think we went back recently and listened to some of the zine stuff we recorded.
Yeah.
And I remember at the time you were still thinking about this kind of thing, and I was like, oh, this is great. I'm working on a project that like I'll let you kind of like host, get some chops, and like we can do the discussion stuff that I love to do. I love having discussions, and like it'll help you like start your thing.
Which is weird because how many years ago was that? 4?
So that was when I was living on Valley Street, and that was before I was married.
Oh yeah.
So
and you've been
4 years ago.
Wow. Yeah. And I remember I was living up north before I moved back and forth from Seattle and stuff, and I was talking about doing it then. But it's like you've been. This is not a pejorative term at all. You've been like the best crutch. Like I love doing it with you. And now it's gonna suck not doing it with you.
No, that's why
it's not gonna suck.
No,
but
I think it's gonna be different. It's gonna be different, and different isn't good or bad, and it's just different. And
it is nice having someone to consistently do it with. Like when you're gone, it's gonna be a lot more initiative of finding extra guests, and because it's like if I want to keep doing it on a weekly basis, I'm gonna have to hustle to find more and more guests. It's like
maybe you find a way to do it on your own. I don't know. I've heard weird podcasts that people do it on their own.
The Crystalia podcast I think is amazing, and it jives with me really because you know how I love to fucking rant on shit. Which he does to like, and it's an art the way he does it. He just goes ham. But I like ranting to people.
Sure. No.
and he has like producers, and I think his wife is in the background doing stuff, and he's like basically talking to them.
Well, we got a
camera.
We don't have a name. We don't have a name. Yeah. I was gonna pretend that we still have that person who never came up with a name.
Jensen, whatever his name is.
That's our one subscriber.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We gotta wrap this up or have another break because I gotta pee.
Okay. Yeah. We can wrap it up. Yeah, that was the episode, guys. It was kind of we were not really.
We got nostalgic at the end.
Yeah. We probably should have ended it after that, but it is what it is, and we'll see you next time.